Yeah. What's up, kings and queens? We're back again. We live. We want to talk about a couple of things. First of all, we're going to respond to what the president has said, which is kind of disappointing, right? Uh, and then we're going to talk about going back on the Mayweather case. Since the court is not sitting, we're going to talk about some of the, in fact, we're going to revisit some of the court cases that took place before. We're going to look into some of the nice parts that we can pick out some ideas from. On this one, we're going to look at the Ncashe Jr., right? The guy who was a neighbor and then who claimed that he's the only one who called the cops, meaning that nobody from the house called the cops. And you have to remember during this cross examination, this is when Chololo was trying to put to this young boy that, in fact, he was just trying to present that idea that at some point, Senzo was left unattended. Hence, uh, he probably lost his life there. So the judge came through and blocked that. Then Mshololo rephrased the question, and she was able to come up with the answer that she desired. Now, we want to talk about Ramaphosa, what he did, right? Mm, wow, man. Ramaphosa disappointed me. But uh, I just want us to get behind this decision, like why he took such a decision. Why? First of all, he has to appease the ANC, the cadres, right? He has to appease them, just as Mbalula had said a couple of days ago that something has to happen. The center has to hold. Now, it is evident that Ramaphosa is appeasing the center. Now, why am I saying that? He chose the most what can I say, the most laziest route you can take in trying to solve a political, crime. Now, we know just from the example of the Zondo Commission, and we know basically as a general rule that commissions don't really result in convictions and stuff like that, right? They don't have the power to use that evidence to convict, but the next court might use that evidence to convict. But now, a commission of inquiry, which is now scheduled to for 6 months, which is which means by the end of when the report comes, by the end of the first 6 months, it will be kind of late. Now, Mkonazi was on point, straight on point with what he was talking about. Ramaphosa should have just taken this thing as, okay, here's a policeman and he's saying this and this and this. That means this is a policeman. He has probably done his homework, he's probably investigated. Let's take it from there. Let's ask him if are there any dockets open. If there are any dockets not opened, let's discuss with the legal department of the presidency to find out which loopholes are there we can use to open dockets straight up from the presidency, and then start charging these people, whoever is committed, based on the evidence that Mkwanazi will present. But now, Mkwanazi has to now go and give this evidence to some other people, which will dilute now the potency of these charges. This is what I expect. Ramaphosa has a history of not acting on corrupt activities uh, committed by political delegates. Remember the Palapala issue. What happened? What happened to the Palapala issue? What happened to people who were accused of the the Zimbabwe rendition? What happened to that? What happened to a whole lot of things? So it's amazing that he can give such a response. Anyway, some people are happy. I think that's the center. But I think this now, Ramaphosa will feel this now during the coming elections, they are going to really feel the power of the vote, because it's like they didn't get a lesson, they didn't get it. So now it's time to really make them really understand it went down, a third-rate party or a fourth-rated party. Come on. Now let's cut the politics. Let's go to our usual mirror case and talk about the Ncashe boy. This Ncashe boy was the one who him and his father saw the altercation and had some of the commotion and even took some of the action, even helped in, you know, carrying Senzo Miwa to, like the injured Senzo Miwa to the car as they alleged. Let's hear to, in fact, let's listen to some of this cross-examination by Mr. Ramsopuli, and so that we can educate ourselves, and then I'll make some comments from there. Let's go.
Thank you, Madam. May I proceed?
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Ncashe.
Good morning.
My surname briefly is Ramosepele, and I represent accused number 1 and 2, that is the two gentlemen this side.
Advocate Laprana or Ramosepele. Lantege yana uzo kumela umangalelo wakala no SB. Mangalelo wakala ilo SB.
Now, if I may begin my cross-examination with this, what is your height, Mr. Ncashe?
Ubu tobacco, Ncashe, your height?
So I'm 1.8 to 1.8.
Around 1.8 meters. 1.8 to 1.9 meters.
And what is your vision like?
Vision.
Vision, yes.
Amehlo akho assessment isenjani?
Right, wona mara meeting ama classes.
Well, my eyes are fine. I do need the eyeglasses though.
And now you stated also that your house being 13510 Butlano Street and the Kumalo household being 13511 are divided by a precast hall, correct?
Usho kanjalo dilemize emibili ihlukaniswe ilokho njani ke stop nonsense njengokusho.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Now, you also testified about you having a view or a line of vision into the Kumalo household kitchen, one of the kitchen windows, correct?
Ushilo ke uthi ukwazi ukubona ikitchen lase lokho njani kaKhumalo ifastela lakhona lase kitchen. Is correct.
And in your rough estimation, what is the distance between your bedroom that you were in and that small window in the Kumalo household kitchen?
Umubheka ke mhlambisa mhlambe ngaba i-distance engakanani ukufika kule bedroom efasteleni le bedroom yakho kuya kule location.
Kusuka la kuya lapha.
Kusuka la ukufika kuphi?
You've been looking for an accounting and advisory firm, and we've been looking for you. I'll tell you how I know that in a second.
It's about maybe 100 meters. Suga
100 meters. You have never been an athlete, obviously. Have you seen Usain Bolt running 100 meters?
Yes.
Oh, not 100, maybe 50.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
50. I'm not sure.
50.
The witness has indicated the distance, my lord, to say from the witness box up to the wall.
Yeah.
The distance can be paced, my lord, to be specific.
Maybe from exactly Lankona to Advocate Lapaya.
So
perhaps the proximity could be from where I am right now, exactly where I am, to where Advocate Mshololo is.
I can stand up, my lord, and can the distance be paced?
Yeah, it's about 30 meters. Do it.
No, the police will pace the distance.
Yeah, pace it.
Yeah.
So,
7, my lord. Thank you.
7.
More or less.
Estimatedly. It's 7.
7 meters.
Okay.
And Mr. Ncashe, please can I ask you to speak up because the accused say they can't hear you speaking.
Ngicela ukhulumele phezulu abamangalelwa bakwazi ukukuzwa ne.
Okay.
Understood?
Now, you've testified that as you are watching from your vantage point, looking into the Kumalo household through that small window in the kitchen, you saw a person standing with his back against the window facing into the house, correct?
Ilokho kushila ngisho ukuthi wena ubheka ngefastela wase ubheka ngale wakhumalo ubheka kule fastela encane kitchen wase ubona umuntu emekhona lapha kulelo fastela ekuflathela nje.
Yebo.
That is correct?
Now, the reason why I started my cross-examination with your height and your vision is the following.
Nasi sizathu ke senza ukuthi mhlambe ngibuze ukuthi ke ukubona ubona kanjani okanye ke amehlo akho assessment esinjani futhi nobude bakho nasi ke sizathu.
Kelly Kumalo, Zandile Kumalo testified on this aspect of you being able to see into the house, the kitchen, as follows.
Manje usho kanjalo ke uZandile ukuthi umuntu bengakwazi ukuthi abone khona lapha ekitchen wase udweba lesi sithombe.
Firstly, that there is a cupboard partially blocking off that window so that only a small portion, and she used her hands like this, only a small portion like this is left so that you can have a view into the kitchen. What's your comment on that?
Uthi kwakhona ke i-carpet eyayi ngathi iblokile khona lapha yana ekulele fastela lekitchen ukuthi umuntu ngabe ke ufuna ukubheka ngaphakathi ekitchen kuyosala nje ilokho njani incane indawana encane futhi usebenzisile ke izandla zakhe khona la enkantolo ukusibonisa. Uthini ngalokho wena?
Ngiyavuma ukuthi ispace vele sincane like umnyango mawuvuliwe it's not easy ukuthi ungabona kahle kule space esikhona.
Umnyango mawuvuliwe
Ngoba uvulekela kanje block that window.
Now when I agree that the space was small.
Now let's just try to imagine that. If the door is open, that means that door, the window is here, the door is inside. So if the door is open, you can't really see part of what you usually see inside the house. Now, they said Senzo was shot with his back towards the door. Now, all that Zandi is trying to do is dispel the hope that anybody outside could have seen what was going on inside. Now, what I don't understand about the Ncashe is when he says the door was open. When the door is open, you can't see much. How does that connect with what he saw? Because what he saw is when the people in the house were saying Senzo's back was against the door. So there couldn't have been any door that was open besides the door that opened immediately when Longo Twala ran outside and when Mtogo ran outside. But when the shot got fired, all the people in the house claimed that Senzo's back was against the door, the kitchen door. So there's some confusion there. I don't understand why Ncashe mentions if the door is half open, you cannot see what you usually see. I don't understand that point because the people in the house are saying Senzo was shot with his back against the wall. So I don't know where's the connection there. Help me out in the comment section, and then maybe I'll get it. Maybe I will get it. What this is trying to imply here. Let's go. Let's listen some more.
And further that when the door is open, the view is obstructed by the door that has been opened, given the fact that even that space is small that we are referring to.
And then furthermore, she stated that there's also a curtain on that window, making it partially difficult to see into the kitchen.
Uthi futhi khona ke nekhethe nekhona khona lapho eyenza ke ukuthi kube nzinyana ukuthi umuntu angakwazi ukuthi abone ngaphakathi kwe-kitchen ekhona lapho efasteleni.
Ngiyavuma.
I agree.
And furthermore, she stated that the precast wall between the two houses also would have made it difficult for you to see into their kitchen from your vantage point.
Manje usuka la wena ke ububheke umuzi wakaKhumalo khona yabona leso stop nonsense senze ukuthi okanye senza ukuthi kube nzima okanye kungabe lula ukuthi wena ukwazi ukubona ngale ngakwa Khumalo.
Ngiyala ke lapho because from ekamereni lami mangibheke kanje, yes ikhona i-stop nonsense i-high kanje, but i-window I'm still able ukubona
Lephi window?
leli engikhuluma ngale
Okay. Now there I would like
Now you see what this boy is saying. He now disagrees with Sandy Kuma. He agrees there's a wall here, but through that wall you can see clearly into the yard and into that window. So what was Sandy Kuma trying to do here? If they are really honest, would they give this kind of evidence, trying to combat the evidence that could be coming from outside, that could differ with what they had already said? Yeah, like evasive tactics. Let's continue.
to disagree. From where I would be standing, that is from the a bedroom window, in as much as the precast wall would be higher in terms of the height, I could still see the kitchen window of the Khumalo's house.
Maybe perhaps just to finish up on this point, have you previously ever entered the Khumalo household?
Esikhathini esedlule mhlambe uke wangena khona lapha kwaKhumalo?
yebo ngiyangena.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's briefly talk about the man that you said you saw him having jumped into your yard.
Ake sikhulume ngalo mlisa othi uye wambona egcumela ngale ngaselokhonjaneni ejardini la kini ne?
Just for clarification purposes, did you actually see the man jumping into your yard, or you found him already having jumped? Into your yard.
Uke wambona egcumela ngasejardini okanye umthole ngasejardini lakini?
Should like simthole sekasejaradini kahle.
No.
Aqeda ukungena just like split moment nje, but yena bese kaphakathi.
He just got into the yard. In actual fact, he was in the yard, but it was just within a split of a second that he was inside of the yard. So we found him inside of the yard.
And in your interaction with that particular man, did you ask him his name?
Uma ke ukhulumisana naye lo mlisa, uke wambuza igama lakhe? Uye wambuza igama?
Hayi amkhumbuli ngimbuza igama.
I don't remember asking him his name.
And what is the time lapse from the moment you interact with him until he then jumps back into the Khumalo yard?
manje ke kube isikhathi esingakanani ukusuka ngalesikhathi ke ukhulumisana laphana naye esejardini nakini ukufika ke ngalesi sikhathi ephinde futhi ekudumela ngakakhumalo kuthatha isikhathi esingakanani?
Mhlambe nje not more than a minute.
It would not be more than a minute.
Now let's move on to another.
Now let's talk about that. That's something again that's kind of important to note. This Ncashe man is saying, this guy, Thokozisa only spent a minute and was back to the Kumalos. A minute. That's interesting. So within a minute, he felt that it was safe to go back inside. With all the crooks that he mentioned. And then in a minute, how was he not able to witness accused number 3 running back as it was claimed that he was running back into the house? How was he not able to see the other accused standing at the gate? This is fishy. You see, this Ncashe boy's evidence is revealing a whole lot more things that I was not even aware of. If he says this guy went back 1 minute after the interaction, wow, man. Let's just listen to that point again. I really want to understand if that's the case. If this boy went back in a minute just after meeting that Ncashe boy. Let's hear again.
In actual fact, he was in the yard, but it was just within a split of a second that he was inside of the yard. So we found him inside of the yard.
And in your interaction with that particular man, did you ask him his name?
Uma ke ukhulumisana naye lo mlisa uke wambuza igama lakhe? Uye wambuza igama?
Hayi amkhumbuli ngembuza igama.
I don't remember asking him his name.
And what is the time lapse from the moment you interact with him until he then jumps back into the Khumalo yard?
Manje ke kube isikhathi esingakanani ukusuka ngalesikhathi ke ukhulumisana laphana naye esejardini nakini ukufika ke ngalesi sikhathi ephinde futhi ekudumela ngakakhumalo kuthatha isikhathi esingakanani?
Mhlambe nje not more than a minute.
It would not be more than a minute.
Yeah, he really said that. He really said 1 minute. Interesting. So now we know that they're lying. If it only took 1 minute to go back to the crime scene that was hot, where he knows there are 2 people there brandishing a gun and a knife, and then he goes back in a minute, goes back. Now, he doesn't even see accused number 3 coming back in. He doesn't even see the other ones at the gate, because obviously when he jumps the gate, the stop nozzles, he jumped it coming from the street when he jumped to the Ncashes. So that means he went out into the street so that he can see, he's able to see what's going on the Khumalo's exterior of the yard. A minute, he went back. Interesting. That's a nice fact that you can work on as a defense. 1 minute you were back in. Yeah, that's something that I missed in this guy's Mthokozisi's evidence. 1 minute you were back in. But yet you missed all of these events, and yet you was brave enough to go back to a very hot crime scene that you claim you was hot. 1 minute. Wow, that's nice. Let's continue, guys. This is something that an interesting fact that I just picked up, which just dismantled his evidence. Because if he went there a minute after he didn't really spend much time. And then you could ask yourself, what was he going to do there? If a minute is all that he needed.
Now let's move on to another aspect of your testimony, which is you, together with other community members, go to canvass a park, then you return without having found anything, correct?
Ake siphindele kuleyo ngxenye ubufakazi bakho. Wena-ke namalungu omphakathi nahamba naye laphana ephakini, nathi malifika ephakini azange nike nithole lutho, nase niyabuya futhi, okanye azange nithole muntu, nase niyabuya futhi. Akunjalo?
Kunjalo sesabagijimisa and we chased down the street. Then masifika lapha asiboni sangisiboni.
It is indeed so. We chased after them to the point of the park, and when we got to the park, we couldn't see any person there.
And that upon your return from the park, you head straight to the Kumalo household, correct?
Mase ngiqhamuka khona-ke ephakini nase niyakhona laphana kwalokhunjani kakhumalo. That is correct.
And your testimony further is that you then, as you enter the Kumalo yard, through the kitchen door, towards the passage, you then find the deceased lying down, correct?
Usho kanjalo ukuthi masungena-ke ngomnyango wekhishini wakakhumalo, uthi uya ngale passage, wasuthola umufi khona lapho phansi.
Yebo.
That is correct.
And if I understood you correctly,
Now, let's talk about something that is important. Let's just talk about this thing of them running to the park now, chasing the people. Another amazing. There's something that I really point out. At least number 3, 4, and 5. That the fact that there was a third, fourth, 5 suspect, 5th suspect in control. That thing nobody in the house ever spoke about. Are you aware of the people who saw the event? Now, where does this come from? That there were 4 people. Who came up with the evidence? Who? Is it not good? Right. It's amazing that nobody in the house saw these people. Then Ncashe never saw this third, fourth, and 5th suspect. Yet somehow they measure somehow. Understand that the conventions mentions that suspect number 3, but I'm talking about from the side of the people who were in the house, the witnesses from that side, not from the media confessions. That could be just suspect. Right? We can't really take those and run with them. What we need is some corroboration from the side of the witnesses. There is none. I don't ever remember anybody talking about the third, fourth, and 5th suspect running in and out. Why is that? You can clearly see even from Toko's evidence that he was not even planning to talk about the third suspect. He doesn't really know if there's a 3rd suspect. At this point, he was writing a statement. Interesting. Let's continue some more, and then we'll close it out.
you testified that you tried.
We'll close it out with some show this incident. And she had a very clear figure. Also, means we will be in the mix with just a couple of questions. This young boy, let's continue.
To make him sit up him, the deceased, correct?
Uma ngikuzwisise kahle benzama benzama ukuthi nimhlalise.
That's true.
That is true. I earlier on just wanted to ascertain, when you refer to you, is it you in the singular or you in the plural?
It's you and the community members.
Okay, nina zama ke ukumsukumisa.
Sesazama ukumsukumisa.
That is correct.
Now, when you find him lying in that state, was he conscious? Was he breathing? What was his state?
Manzama ke ukumhlalisa ngaleyo ndlela, ubenjani ubephapheme okanye ubechulekile.
Bengathi utoculekile.
He was like somebody that was unconscious. He appeared to us that he was unconscious.
And furthermore, that you then assisted together with other people to load the deceased into the X6, correct?
Nase-ke nabanye abantu namthatha-ke namcubula lo mufi nayo mfaka kule moto i-X6.
Yeah.
That is correct.
And then the deceased was taken to hospital, correct?
Umufi wathathwa wayiswa esibhedlela. That is correct.
And at some stage thereafter, after a discussion between yourselves and other community members, you personally then called the police, correct?
Emva kwalokho-ke nifikile lapha namalunga omphakathi, wena uqobo lwakhe wase ufonela amaphoyisa kunjalo?
Yebo kunjalo.
Yes, it is indeed so.
There's khona la ngakhumbuli khona kahle ukuthi makwenzakala yonke lento ngoba iyenzakala ngespeed yabona. So angikhumbula ukuthi ngibafonele immediately masifike ejardini or masesimfake emotweni. Lapho ngisakhumbula kahle, but I remember that ngingamfonela.
There was this delay to call the cops. Like there was a serious delay to call the cops. We know that. It's even bad that the people in the house didn't opt to call the cops. Not the cops, just the community members who were not present when the event happened who decided to call the cops. Like some of the interesting things that we can pick up from this and just see that the case is, it's just a what can I call it? A made-up story. It's just a bullshit story. Let me just be clear.
Yes.
Basicela ukuthi sifone ngafonela amaphoyisa.
Yes. I would say that yes, I did phone call the police. I was asked to phone call the police. However, it's a bit sketchy. Whether did I phone call the police immediately when we got into the yard, or at what stage did I really phone call the police? Or whether I phone call the police after we loaded him into the vehicle. I am uncertain about that.
Let me just get back to this point. Sorry for that. When you tried to make the deceased to sit up, you lift him up. Was there blood on the floor where you found him lying down?
Manzama ke ukumhlalisa lo mufi. La ebe lele khona. Kwakhona mhlambe igazi lapho phansi. Ngoba nimphakamisa nje.
Angisakhumbule.
I cannot remember.
Because
before he even explains, I just find it funny that for the crime scene, with a gunshot wound that was fatal. You don't remember seeing that. I just anyway, he's going to say it's strong. What he's going to say now next year is he was probably traumatized. Things were happening fast. Yeah, but doubt that story. Let's go in.
Going into like yabona for mina personally bengiqala ukubona umuntu odutshuliwe.
Now, another thing is that personally, it was my first experience witnessing a person that has been shot at.
And okunye futhi to witness ukuthi it's not just any person, umuntu obekuyihero yami.
And further that it wasn't just an ordinary person. This was my hero or my role model. Usho kanjalo-ke ukuthi lo mlisa or yena lo muntu lona bengeyena nje umuntu kuphela nje, kwakuwumuntu engangibukela kuye njengomzekelo okanye iqhawe lami.
So ezinye izinto when and nami bengisesemncane nyana, but mangibone ngikhumbula lokho engikhumbulayo azange ngisakhona ukubheka okunye nokunye.
Now, I was still young then, or younger than I am right now. Certain things I cannot remember them clearly.
Probably another reason could be Mapiri had already done her job, so hence he was not able to see much. That's probably one of the reasons. Let me not blame this boy for nothing. He probably really didn't see nothing. So
There are certain things that I can still remember, but others I can't remember them clearly.
And just to polish up on that, as you try to lift him up, you say he seemed unconscious. Am I right?
Usho kanjalo-ke uthi manzama ukumphakamisa ubebukeka njengomuntu oqulekile. Ilokho kusho.
Yebo.
That is correct.
And therefore, would I be correct that he was non-responsive?
Ngizobe ngiqinisile-ke mangithi mhlawumbe bengeyena-ke umuntu obonakala njengomuntu okwazi ukuthi aphendule mhlawumbe okanye ahambise umzimba mangabe khona okuthize mhlawumbe kwenzakalayo kuye.
Bekangakwazi ukuphendula ngokukhuluma ne, or bekangakhona ukuphendula, but bowukuza ukuthi like ubreather heavy, ubreather like yabona ukuthi you can see ukuthi is in a bad condition.
Well, verbally he could not respond, yes, but further that he also could not, breathe with ease. One could see that he was breathing difficultly.
And now, finally, do you know that whether or not at any stage an ambulance was called for the deceased to come and attend him?
Ngabe uyazini ukuthi mhlambe i-ambulance yafonelwa noma cha ukuthi ize laphana kumufi?
Hayi, angikhumbuli.
No,
I don't know.
I've got no knowledge of that.
the ambulance was obviously not called, hence they took him themselves to the hospital. Yeah, sure.
I don't remember.
Thank you, my lord. No further
Thanks.
questions.
Yes. So, Rooney? Is it?
Need to run Windows on your Mac? Parallels Desktop makes
Thank you, Mr. Ncashe.
Going to feel
Sabonga Babungash. Responded.
we're just going to field just a few questions from Nisi, and then we jump to Msholod, and then we're good.
Now, upon your arrival from the park, when you got into the room, when you got into the house, are you able to remember who was in the house, like person that you knew?
Manje uma ngiqhamuke ephakeni ngifika laphana endlini sengisho kwaphuma ningena endlini okanye wena ungena endlini. Ngabe khona yini umuntu othi mawungena endlini wambona ukuthi lona ngathi ngiyamazi?
So masingena nama neighbors, they were khona umuntu uyi-one ngambona but bengingamazi.
Now, myself and the neighbors, when we got into the house, there's somebody that I saw, unfortunately. uthi khona umuntu owambona.
Shuthi besinudisana naye masi si lift up sense.
Now, let's highlight just something again here. The fact that he's talking about when we entered the house, it clearly shows that the scene was at this moment being trampled upon. It's just an admission on his part and on the part of, that lady, Mamukete, and on the part of the lady who cleaned the blood, because the statements talking about they entered the scene. So there is evidence that the scene was being trampled upon after the crime scene. After the event took place, it continued being trampled upon. They even invited other people from outside who were not initially on the crime scene.
Maungena endlini wambona lo muntu lo. Now, there's a person that I saw, and the witness is not confining his answer into whether was it in the house or not. There's a person that I saw, and this was the person that also assisted us at the time that we're lifting the deceased up to help him sit upright.
And then nomunye futhi bebayi-2 abangathi they're also helping.
Now, there were 2 of such people that were also helping.
Omunye bekahamba ngama-crutch.
There was another one that was working with the crutches.
And then omunye ulo bekajumpile endlini.
And the other one is this one that had jumped into our premises.
So besides neighbors that we esifike nabo, yibo abayi-2 lawo abanye ngathi ngababona ngayo.
Okay.
Masinedisana.
Say for the neighbors that we came with, these are the 2 that I would say that I had seen there at that scene of the incident.
Thank you, Mr. Ncashe.
So,
now, when you took him from the spot where he was lying, did you take him out of the kitchen door into the motor vehicle from the spot where you found him?
Shuthi-ke ukusuka laphana la nimthole khona navele namthatha namsusa khona lapho la nimthole khona namisa emotweni.
Yebo kunjani.
It is indeed so.
The reason why I'm maybe concerned about this is because the court has heard the testimony of Zandile Khumalo.
Yabona into eyenza ukuthi ngithi ukukhathazeka ngalokho ukuthi inkantolo eke yabuza imibuzo lana ku Zandile Khumalo.
The court heard the testimony of Zandile Khumalo.
Inkantolo yezwa ubufakazi buka Zandile Khumalo.
And amongst others, she told the court that after Senzo got injured, he went on to hide himself in the sitting room near some sofas there, but it was in the sitting room.
Kokunye-ke akhuluma lana wathi emva ukuthi uSenzo lona-ke adubuleke wase uyahamba uyoyifihla
And that is
phakathi kwamasofa nje laphayana.
And that is where she was taken from, when she was taken into the vehicle.
That is where he was taken.
Yes.
Wathathwa-ke ukusuka khona lapho-ke waswa emotweni.
As you could please, that is correct. But she did say he went to kneel between the couch and the room divider. But thereafter she went to look for help. So when the deceased was carried, she was at Mapiri.
Yes, it is a court number. That is correct. That's correct. I'm sorry.
So you were wrong.
No, I was not wrong, madam.
How can you both be
to
right?
say wrong is a very strong statement, madam. We make mistakes.
There's no difference between it is not correct, it is wrong. What is the difference?
No, what I'm saying, my
It's
lord,
just semantics. It's just
the court
semantics.
says-
Look at the smile on the judge's face. Look at the smile on the judge's face. Just at the thought that this could be wrong. But like, let's get down to this. When he's saying, Sandy Kumalo says, Senzo Meiwa was picked up. So at this point, he's just trying to show that she probably distorted her evidence by claiming that he passed out, he lost his life in that area on the sofas, like between the sofas where he hid. When in actual form, this boy is now saying that they picked him up from near the passage. So that is the confusion there. Anyway, the judge is happy about that. It's very happy about that. I don't see the problem there.
I'm sorry, my lord, if the court says I'm wrong, that's a very strong statement.
It's what?
But my interpretation can never be wrong. It's just an assessment of how I heard the evidence.
You are wrong. You can't right a wrong. You are wrong.
It was a misinterpretation. I'd rather use the term, but I prefer to use misinterpretation.
And misinterpretation is wrong.
It was faulty.
Why do you want to run away from a fact which is so balanji?
Okay, no.
It's a misstatement. It's an incorrect. Churchill calls it a terminological inexactitude. It's wrong. Okay, you heard me.
Terminological exactitude.
That's it. That's what Churchill calls a wrong thing.
Thank you, madam.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You saying at the point at which you took him from the motor. I'm withdrawing the supposition or the proposition that he was taken from the sitting room into the motor vehicle. Yes.
Manje ke ngithanda ke ukuthi nami ngithi mangibuka izinto bese ngibona okanye ngithola leso sithombe sokuthi wathathwa wasuswa khona laphana futhi waya elokhunjaneni. He was removed from the kitchen to the dining room. Can you repeat that, please?
I am saying I am withdrawing the supposition that he was taken from the sitting room near the coaches to the motor vehicle.
Uthi ke uyabona ke lo mbono abe ubeke kuwe uthi hayi ke sengiyasula ke ukuthi wathathwa wasuswa khona laphana la ebeyifihle khona ngase sitting room waseke uyathathwa uyiswa lokho uthi ngiyakhoqisa yazwakala.
Okay.
Understood.
Now,
Thank you.
if you so remember, were one of the Kumalos part of those who lifted him to the motor vehicle as we were lifting him from the place where you found him?
Uma ukhumbula kahle ngabe khona umunye wakakhumalo kwakuyingxenye yalabo bantu abebemcubula bamsemotweni bayomfaka emotweni. Kukhona nje omnye wakakhumalo lapho oye walekelela ufaka isandla ekutheni athathwe aswe laphana emotweni. Umukhumbula?
Angikhumbuli yabo.
No,
I'm not sure angikhumbuli.
I don't remember. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Thank you, my lord. That will be all.
Okay. Mr. Ngomala, any question?
Mate, this is the court. My lord, I have no cross-examination to the witness. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're right there. You're right, Mr. Leonard Chowki. When he says it's called wrong, not a mistake. But when they are lying, it's not a lie, but not true. Yeah, like they have this nice, nice terminology for wrong things. When they want to talk about a criminal who's a politician or who's white, they will say white collar crime, white collar. You don't really think much about it, but it's really crime. Basically, it's just basically crime. Now let's hear Advocate Mshololo she's also going to get into a tiff with the judge. The judge, always like to pick up a fight with Mshololo. At this point, there was some kind of tension. Now, let's hear how Mshololo just, diverts around that little obstacle, and then gets her desired answer from the witness. Let's go.
Mr. Ncashe, do you know what is the height of the wall between the two houses, your house and that one of the Khumalo?
Uyayazi height yaleli bonda ke elihlukanisa lemizi emibili mhlambe ungahlamisela ukuthi
ngambonisa umzekelo ukuthi lifika phi la kimi.
I can demonstrate by myself as to how far the height would be relative to my height.
Okay, you can tell us.
Ungasibonisa ke. Okay. The witness is now demonstrating that it could be on a chin level of his height. Now, as I am standing like that, with that demonstration of both arms then lifted, I'm able to lift into the yard of the Khumalo's.
And then, having said that, there is a curtain at Khumalo's kitchen, then how were you able to see a person inside the house?
Manje kunekhethi ngaleke kule fastela kaKhumalo ukwazile yini ukubona umuntu ongaphakathi endlini kalokho njani kaKhumalo kulo lelo fastela?
Yebo ngikwazile ngoba i-curtain yebo ikhona ngibonile i-curtain and manje ukhumbule bese dark yabo. The time it was dark and they had a light on in the kitchen, so angikhona ngibona okuningi. I didn't see.
Now, I concede to the fact that there is a curtain in there. However, given the fact that it was lit in the kitchen, I could still see through into the kitchen of the Khumalo's. It was late in the day, or towards the night, or in the evening, and that the fact that the kitchen was lit, that was the reason why I could then be able to see through that very window into the kitchen of the Khumalo's.
Did you say it was lit inside the kitchen?
Beglightiwe nje kitchen, yeah, beglightiwe
ngaphakathi ekitchen,
ngaphakathi, because ngikhumbula ukuthi ngasikhathi ngibona lo muntu ogqoke iskipa esimhlophe naso, yes, it was after i-curtain, but ngoba kukhanya naso besibona bengikhona ukubona ukuthi okay khona umuntu ogqoke iskipa esimhlophe ubhekele.
Yes, I had meant that it was indeed lit in the kitchen. It was lit. It was lit in the kitchen. And the other thing that I remember is the fact that when I saw that person that was inside of the kitchen, through that kitchen window, given the fact that it was lit in the kitchen, the reflection was rather visible for me. Because of the fact that it was lit in the kitchen, and it is for that reason that I could see that that person was wearing a white T-shirt.
In other words, the curtain was not thick. You could able to see through the curtain.
That is correct. Yeah. That is correct.
Okay. Zandile Khumalo said there is no way you could have been able to see through the curtain inside the house. What do you see?
Zandile Khumalo yena uthi ayikho indlela ukuthi ubungabona ngaphakathi kwekitchen ngaleyo curtain ebilapho ngenxa yale curtain ebilapho.
I can't speak for her, and that wakumbono lo.
Angikwazi ukuthi ngamkhulumela. That would be her own version.
But I don't think I don't think she's wrong here. This is what happens with most women. Most women don't mind putting a very light, curtain in the kitchen, right? Mostly in the kitchen. And as a man, when you tell them that I can see you when I pass through, like after I park the car, it happens also with my woman. If you pass through, I can see inside the house. Then she tell you, no, nobody can see. They like that thing with me. So it could be she's thinking that our curtain, as it is, nobody can see inside, although this guy can see. This is what happens with.
But are you saying you were able to see?
Uthi wena ukwazile ukubona.
I was ngikwazile ukubona.
Yes, I was able to see.
And then you further said you went down to the park, and after you came back from the park, you still found the deceased still kept inside the house. Is that correct?
Uthi ke nahamba naye eparkini, mase nibuye eparkini, namthola umufi esasengaphakathi endlini.
Yebo.
At that
Yes.
time, he had not received any medical attention by the time you left your house down to the park and back to the park. He was just sitting inside the house.
Shuthi ke nahamba namshiya endlini naye eparkini, akakatholi unyango okanye medical attention. Nabuye eparkini nabuyela endlini, akakatholi uncedo ilokhu njalo lo nyanga.
Masuka laphana ekhaya bengisekhaya mina ngaphuma ngegate sayehla ke ne community.
Now, I was at home initially and then exited the premises of my home. Myself, together with the community, we then went down the street.
Saya enzansi sijaha masijaha masifika ke sathola ukuthi asibone umuntu.
And then we were chasing, or we were in a hurry. And then when we got to the park, we realized that there's nobody there and we couldn't see any person there.
Yeah, I agree with that. My question
Ngiyavumelana
is,
nalokho.
you went down and came back.
How do you cut plywood? Which direction do you cut plywood in when you're using a jigsaw? In other words,
Now it's evident from this question that Mcholo is asking. These guys, like, they never considered calling any help for all this time. Imagine Longotala runs outside after, and then Toz is around outside. Some of them ran into bathroom, some of them, and then eventually he comes back. Tokozizi, the neighbor comes back, like he's saying now they came with the neighbors, and then they ran to the park. Coming from the park, still nothing was done to attend to these guys' injuries. Nah, man. Something fishy was going on here. They were just thinking now, how do we handle this? Because they could already see the results, what was going to happen. So they had to come up with a plan to, so that to prepare the story, so to say. Let's continue.
was which face of your plywood do you
Only to find that there was no ambulance.
Ngisho njalo ngithi
This
kuwe
premises called to attend to the deceased.
engusho yilokho ngivumelana nawe ukuthi engushoyo engicizela ku ukuthi nahamba naye eparkini naze nabuya eparkini.
Sorry for that little lag in the network, but it will be right now. It will be all right now. Just now. Bear with me.
Kunguthi sonke lesikhathi ngihambile nze nibuye futhi azange bene ambulance eke yafika lapha nizosiza usenzo. Kunjalo?
Yeah, kunjalo.
It is indeed so.
Thank you. And also, I just want to confirm one more thing that, okay, where was the Kumalos especially Kelly Kumalo and the mother inside the house when you arrived from the park?
Mase niphume ephakeni ningena endlini kaKhumalo. uKelly Khumalo nomama umama Khumalo bebe kuphi phakathi endlini lapha?
Into engikhumbula ngembona umama kaKelly.
The person I recall seeing, it was Kelly's mother.
But abanye azange ngibabone. Angikhumbuli ngibabone.
The others, I didn't see them. I do not recall seeing them.
Okay. The decision that was taken.
So let's talk about this also. Where could they have been, these people? If he was only able to see Kelly's mother, where would he? That means they were not even around the body. In fact, the injured sensor, let's put it that way, because they claim that he was still injured, right? Even he himself, this guy, is claiming that he was still injured. Now, where were they when he saw the sensor Meyiwa injured sensor Meyiwa lying there? Where were they? Because he saw him alone. No attention was being given to this guy.
For you to take the deceased to the hospital, were you asked by the Khumalo family members or you were asked by the neighbors?
Leso sinqumo nasithatha ukuthi kuthathwe lona ke umufi afakwe emotweni ahanjiswa esibhedlela. Nacelwa yini abakaKhumalo mhlawumbe okanye nina navele nanquma nje ukuthi akathathwe lo muntu afake emotweni ayiswe esibhedlela?
Angikhumbuli kahle ukuthi inkulumo zambe kanjani after ngibone leya scene, but into engikhumbulayo ukuthi sesa decide ukuthi usenzo sizomthatha simfake emotweni ayisibhedlela.
I cannot recall clearly how the communication went about. What I remember is that we decided that we will take Senzo and put him into the vehicle so that he's transported to the hospital.
One last question. When you said when you removed the deceased, he was already non-responsive.
This is the pulse laser cleaning machine, the ideal solution for a wide variety of cleaning applications.
Usho kanjalo ukuthi mase nimsusa laphayana ubengasanyakazi okanye akhulume.
Bekangakhulumi, like verbally non-responsive, but umzimba nakhona non-responsive, mara maumsondela ebusweni yambona ukuthi usaphefumula.
Okay. Yes, indeed, he was non-responsive in terms of the body, physically. He was not responsive, and as well as verbally, he couldn't respond. But when one neared the face or close to the mouth, one could hear that there was some difficulty in that.
Okay. By the time you arrived, you said you remember only that there was Khumalo's mother who was inside the lounge. As he was sitting in that critical condition, is there any Khumalo family member who was helping him, or he was left there to die by himself?
You can't do that. Left there to die.
Or he was left?
This lady, Zandile said, I went to Mapiri. Please.
Can I rephrase that question?
No, let's not adulterate the evidence by stating non-essentials which were never ever testified to. She said she panicked, she froze, she came out, she went to Mapiri, she was spending with Ntabise, she couldn't even dial 10-111, and now you're telling us she was left there to die.
Manuel, can I rephrase my question?
Yes.
Is there any person who was assisting or who was with the deceased at the time when you found him, or he was left there by his own?
Manimthola laphayana ngabe kukhona yini umuntu obezama ukumlekelela okanye ube lapho nje eyedwa lapho?
Yeah, masivela ngepassage bekangekho umuntu engimbonile mina.
Thank you.
When we appeared by the passage, there isn't any person that I had witnessed there.
Thank you, my lord. No further questions.
Yeah, that was about it. That was about it from Shololo. And then the other two advocates, Advocate Minisi and Mr. Ramsipit. Now, you can see the judge still the way he's still acting acting out what he wants to act out. Now, I want to close the live. It's too long, so I don't want to make it hard for other people who's going to watch. Let me just greet the people who were in the comment section and thank everybody who was in the 75 viewers who are presently watching. Thank you guys for popping in. Then now let me greet those who was in the comment section. There were Homa Uke, thank you for popping in, my king. One love. And then Charlie David from Namibia, thank you for popping in. Thank you, my king. And then Cecil Brown. That's Cecil Browns. Thank you watching from Namibia. Thank you, my king. Charlie David, yes, I talked about you. Leonard Chauke. Yeah, thank you, my king, for popping in. Master Shiburu. Master Shiburi. Thank you for popping in, my king. And then Non-Fundo Princess. Thank you, queen. The one and only queen in the comment section. Thank you guys for popping in. It was nice being with you. We're about to move on. Peace. Before we do that, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that when we drop more content like this, you are in the loop. Peace.